What's up? What's up? What's up, cousin? In my DJ Slab One voice. Thank you all for showing up for another episode of Catching the Cut with me, Queen 504. I do appreciate it. Before we get started with this video, it is for educational purposes only. Use of any media to educate is allowed under the Fair Use Act, which will be in the description box at the end of this video. Please, please, please like and share the video, and don't forget to subscribe as well and hit that like button. Um, Tonight, I'm gonna take y'all back to the past again. I know, y'all saying again, damn, all she know is the past, but it's the stuff that either y'all forgot that happened in the past, or kids who were too young to even realize or know that this stuff happened because we don't talk about it no more. So that's where me, y'all, a nosy neighbor, come in at. I got y'all. So tonight I'm going to be reacting to a magazine article from 1999, and I will show you how this magazine article is still relevant in 2023. So the article is pulled from the Rap Pages June 1999 edition with Juvenile and BG on the cover. The article is titled Rap Journalist Strikes Back at Rappers. Some of you may have forgotten some of these incidents, while others may not have heard of them at all. In 2023, the term journalist, it's exploded. The term journalist now has to include bloggers, podcasters, me, as a neighbor, and even the bottlenecker who's on the road trying to check out everything that's going on except for driving a damn car. Um so please leave comments after the video to let me know how y'all feel. Have things changed at all? Are they better or worse? Is violence necessary? And is violence actually the answer when it comes to this rap stuff, even hip hop? So, with that being said, let's get into the article. And again, I just feel like, as y'all nosy neighbor, I'm just gonna bring it to y'all raw like that. So you see on the screen here, I have the cover of the Rap Pages magazine from June 1999 edition with BG and Juvenile on the cover. I know y'all like, well, why the hell ain't you talking to us about BG and Juvie? It's coming, I promise. Let me build up to that. Y'all know my shit's still small. I'm trying to get a few more subscribers and stuff. And I'm gonna bring y'all that exactly what they said in this interview. Um, so I want y'all to just kind of sit back, and we gonna go Sophia Petrillo with it. Picture it. New York, 1999. Rap journalists strike back against rappers. All right. So in 1999, they had a rash of beatings that were happening in New York. And the certain pockets of people knew what was happening with those beatings, but the world at large, or the US at large, didn't really know what the hell was going on with this. Because for me, this is something that I remembered one of the beatings, but the rest of them that are talked about in this article, I never knew that it was a rap journalist that jumped on the artist before the artist could jump on him. So, yeah. So for me, it's like, okay, this is kind of kicking me back to 2023, because it seems like with more bloggers coming online, more vloggers, podcasters, whatever you want to name it. I still say it's just your nosy fucking neighbor, because that's what it is. With more people coming into the space of so-called journalism, the rappers can't beat everybody, and the journalists, podcasters, bloggers can't get to the artists. much like they used to be able to do back in 1999. So those are some things that have changed since 1999, is that the rappers started getting real security, real security. So people ain't getting that close to them anymore. So let's move into the article. Um, and this topic of the magazine was called The Daily Just Clowning. And they say, we don't make the news, we just report it. So recently, journalists from various hip hop publications have suffered critical beatdowns at the hands of various angry rappers who were upset about unflattering feature articles published about them and negative reviews of their latest releases. Now, we're going to pause right there. Um, Again, this is for educational purposes, trying to educate my people on, things that have changed since 99 and things that have remained the same or gotten worse over time now that we're in 2023. Um, so, with the unflattering articles, with the invention of the internet, and now we have instant, these people who would do these reviews, their reviews weren't instant back in 1999. In 2023, the reviews are instant. And I'm going to use an example. And I'm not meaning to say that this person is negative or anything. I'm just using it an as an example in 2023 of a blogger, podcaster, nosy neighbor of 2023. DJ Academics comes to my mind because every day he goes online and he doesn't just um, do like general, like specific topics all the time. He doesn't just stick with, oh, well, I came online just to talk about NBA Youngboy. No, that's not what he did. He takes topics. It might be 15 topics, it may be 20 topics, and he'll try to address as many topics as he can for as much time as he has allotted for that live. And there are times when albums are about to drop, and he will even without listening to the album, he may have seen the track listing or whatever, but hadn't yet heard the album. But he will go on to say, well, I predict this album will sell 60,000. I predict this album will sell 80,000, or whatever. He's giving his opinion before even hearing the work. And some of what I'm going to talk about in this article basically is the artist saying that because these journalists would give their album a 3 mics instead of a 4 mics or 5 mics, that it fucked up their sales. So the artists were blaming the journalists for, so say, fucking up their sales of their album because they gave it less stars or less mics than the work deserved. I think I saw Benzino, an article with Benzino, a couple of days ago, or maybe yesterday, saying that there was an artist who was upset with him because he gave their work, um, I think, a 3 mics. And now he's coming back and he's saying, well, this is what I did back then. I gave this body of work 3 mics, but I only did it because I had something going on with the artist or whatever. So he wasn't being objective when he gave the 3 mics to the artist. And that will mess with your money, and of course it will make that rapper want to come after you to mess with their money. So those are two good examples that I can think of right now, that goes along with kind of what we're talking about. And maybe I'll find that Benzino um, article where he talked about giving less mics than he thought the work should have had. So let's continue on. Most recently, the editor of Blase magazine, and remember, this article is from 1999. So anything that I'm saying or that the article says most recently or putting a time reference to it, don't forget this is June of 1999. So, most recently, the editor of Blase magazine claims to have been threatened at gunpoint by Fuji leader Wyclef Jean due to a negative review of the Cannabis album, which he produced. The editor also claims to have suffered a severe thrashing from producer Derek D. Angeletti and his entourage for publishing a non consensual photograph revealing to the world Angeletti's alias as the fictitious Mad Rapper. Among other incidents, these series of beatings have shaken up the hip hop periodicals so much. Writers have been forced to sway their reviews in a positive direction, sacrificing their integrity for their own safety. One writer says he has had enough. So again, these writers, these journalists were being threatened by the artists, or I don't even want to say rappers, so I'm just going to say artists because sometimes the lines are blurred with hip hop, rap, and all of this other stuff. So I'm just going to say artists. Um, the artists would be upset about um, ratings that their albums were receiving from these journalists. And so whenever the journalists would run into the artist, there may be some words or something in the like exchanged between the two. So this one journalist said, enough is enough. I've had enough of y'all trying to beat my ass behind my job. This is my job. And every time, every week, I got somebody different that want to beat my ass because I was out here doing my job. So let's continue on and see what happens next. Um, Freelance writer Richard Barker, former street hustler who went on to Cambridge University to receive a PhD in English. Um, Barker took matters into his own hands. He said, "I'm not afraid to fight." He angrily proposed at yesterday's press conference. "If rappers want to bring it, then bring it. I'll fuck them up," said Barker. Barker made news last month for attacking Rampage outside of the Club Tramps in New York City. When asked about the motivation behind the attack, he replied, "This fool fucked up the Flip Mode album for me. I dissed him in the piece I wrote in Blase, and I knew that he was going to come looking for me. So I just figured I would bring it to him before he brought it to me. You should have seen it. I beat the living shit out of him." So this Richard Barker is a journalist. Um, and he came from the streets, went on to Cambridge, got his PhD. Um, but still from the streets. Don't forget that part. Um, so he pretty much said that the Flip Mode album by Busta Rhymes was messed up for him, and he didn't like it. And so when he saw the producer, he went on ahead and he beat him up. And the people was like, "Why did you beat him up?" And he was like, "He fucked up the Flip Mode album for me." And he was like, with me giving, 2 stars or 3 stars, I know he was gonna come looking for me and beat my ass. So I beat him to it. I saw him, I beat his ass, and that was that. He can't beat my ass. Now everything is washed. I was like, damn, that was smart, Barker. All right, let's continue on. Barker has also got into confrontations with several other rappers within the last few weeks. "Oh, yeah, I wasn't feeling that new Jay-Z album at all. I saw him on the street and came up behind him and was like, boom, clocked him right in the jaw when he wasn't looking. Grammy or no Grammy, I beat him good for coming as whack as he did. So this guy, Richard Barker, saw Jay-Z and he jumped on him and just beat him up. Because he didn't care for the album and he didn't give it 5 mics, and he knew that once he did that and he saw that Jay-Z was gonna get on him. So when he saw Jay-Z, he just ran up on the man and just punched him. Okay, punched him in his shit, caught him off guard. And again, that's what I'm saying, a difference from 1999 to 2023 is that back then you had access to entertainers. Like, one of my favorite things for Cash Money to do, whenever they had an album drop, was to go to the record store the night that the album was going to drop. They would go to the record stores and they would sign autographs and meet, their fans. They would sign the fans. I mean, it was everything served a purpose. You meet your fans, you show them that you're fan friendly. They buy your album and get you to sign that copy of that album, and your fans are happy. And to me, no matter how fucked up of a rap artist you are, meaning, being in the street and being in the industry, that all your fans want to do is meet you. And that was a great way to meet your customers and sell your albums, the physical copies of your albums at the same time. I miss that. I wish somebody would bring that back. But I know that there's hardly even any record stores left to be able to push that. But that was my most favorite thing that Cash Money ever did. My most favorite thing for them to do was to go into the record store on Canal Street and meet their fans and give away albums and autographs. But let's get back to this. Barker said, I went a little easier on Razcast. I liked half of the album. The other half I wasn't feeling. With Raz, I just waited outside of priority offices. And when I saw him, I said, hey, let's wrestle. We rolled around in the grass until we both got tired. So he went and found Razcast. Even though he 50% liked the album, he still knew once he wrote up the article and gave it a score, Razcast wasn't going to be happy with it and was going to come looking for him. So he went found Razcast right outside of Priority Records. And I'm guessing he didn't have a bodyguard or anybody with him because he just asked them if he wanted to wrestle, and they did. So that's a difference from 99 to 2023. Now everybody's got security all around them, so the artists are not accessible as they were back in 99. So for a journalist or anyone else to get close enough to an artist, to try to fight them or harm them in any kind of way, the security is just gonna jump on them right then and there. So in 2023, I don't think this could happen. In 2023, you might get one lick off. You might get one, or you gonna pay for that one. You gonna pay for that one. All right, let's finish up. When rappers asked about future premeditated beatdowns, Barker stated, yeah, I got a few coming up. I haven't heard the new Nas album yet, but I know for a fact it's going to be whack. That's why I beat his ass last night. I figured I should just give it to him now before he goes on tour. When one anxious intern at a popular rap magazine blurted out that you God of the Wu-Tang Clan is working on a solo album, Barker replied, I heard you God has a solo album coming. he's gonna get a bad beat down. So I don't know if the beat down ever happened on you, God. Out of all of these attacks that they talk about in this article, I was only aware of the one. Um, I wasn't aware of the rest of these. And again, maybe in New York, um, this was common knowledge to people in New York, but for people outside of New York, I had no idea. You know, I knew about the Jay-Z one, but I didn't know about Wyclef, Raz Kaz. Um, so that was just something interesting for me to read. And again, it was the very last page in this magazine by Rap Pages, Your Survival Guide for Hip Hop Music. Okay. Um, so let me know how y'all feel about this in the comments. Like, share, subscribe to the video. Um, and yeah, so that's all I have for this. I'm gonna do another video probably tonight, because this kind of leads into something else with this Richard Barker guy. 1999, around that time, was the birth. I'll call it a birth. It was the birth of the hip hop police in New York. You had journalists going around beating up rappers. And then you had the Puff Daddy and the Jay-Z incidents that happened in New York. Um, and those were like two big things. They weren't small things by any means. So I'll talk about that because I know that that's something I hadn't thought about in forever, until I saw it in this magazine, and I thought it would just be good to kind of do a recap on, what the rap game is, because those two are in the rap game. They were spared going to prison back in 1999. Both of them escaped prison back in 1999. If those two had actually gone to prison, what would rap and hip hop look like in 2023? Because those two are, I call them the gatekeepers. Those are two of the gatekeepers in rap and hip hop. And if fate was just a little bit different back in 1999, both of these guys would have been locked up. They would have been, out of the industry. How would the industry how would the industry evolve without these two main players if they had gone to jail? Would rap and hip hop be different? Would, the labels that we have today, would some of those labels not exist? Because we know that Puffy started as an A&R guy. So that's what I want to look at in the next article. That is all that I have for you guys for this video. Thank you so much for coming back to another episode of Catching the Cut with me, Queen 504. I'm out, cousin.